Good morning, everyone. I'm Sanjay Thakur, presently working as Professor of Management Studies at IMS University, Dehradun. I am here to take you through the second chapter of this particular course, Strategic Management. And the chapter is more of concerned about external environment of the organization. So I hope the journey will be full of learning and full of memories throughout. I expect each one of you to participate actively and post the queries wherever you feel like during the session. Wishing you a great journey throughout, and we are going ahead with the chapter. So while moving, we see that what the strategic management is and how it goes with. Okay, so this is particularly the syllabus of strategic management we have been introduced with. So I hope the first chapter has went with Ajit sir. Then I am here to make you go through second chapter. Okay, this is external analysis of the companies. So this is something like the overview of chapter, what the chapter is all about. So in this full chapter, we will be dealing with what is strategic analysis, what is strategy and business environment, and what is the products offered by the companies in an industry and its positioning, and how the industrial environment influence the company, what are the market and customers for the organization, and what is the competitive strategy a company have to have for having the advantage or competitive edge in the market. Okay, so the learning outcome, as of they're concerned, we have to examine the criticality of the business environment and its strategies. Okay, then we have to go with the what strategies a company have to identify and tackle to function effectively in complex environment. Then we will utilize the PESTLE analysis tool for environmental analysis of the company. Then we have to situate a business in an industry to conduct the industry analysis. Okay, and in last we'll be having the Porter's five forces framework to analyze the competitive environment. So see, before going ahead with the things, I just thought you to have a look into the industrial scenario, like how the companies work. So we are having a legend of our country, Ratan Tata, at here, and the companies the Tata Group is dealing with. So at the first place, there is something called industry. The industry is the group of companies where like different companies happen. So say like this is metal industry here. So we have the company like Tata Metallics and Tata Steel. So in infra, there is Tata Power, Tata Housing, Tata Projects. So see, this is a great group and having lot many companies in different industries, and each of the companies performing great. So like if we come at lifestyle over here, we have Titan, Tanishq, Fast Track. Okay. So like what happened exactly when why do we need strategy? First of all, we have to think about it. So strategies like something, say like recently Tata acquired in Air India. Okay, so Air India is a new venture for Tata. It merged Air India with Vistara Group. Okay, so while Air India being merged in Vistara Group of Tata, okay, it went with the same brand name called Air India. So there has to be a vision set for the company, a mission set for the company, goal set for the companies. So sometimes what happen, these mission, vision, and goals are not in synchronization with the things which are happening inside the company, like how employees behave, how employees perceive the things. So we need something called is strategic analysis for the things. Okay, we are trying to understand this concept, like what are the external environment for the company and how this strategic analysis help a company. Okay, so uh, going ahead with the things, this strategic analysis is the study of internal and external factors. Okay, internal means inside the company. Okay, so as I told you recently, uh, uh, good morning, everyone. So as I told you recently, internal environment is something like the employees of company, the management of company. Okay, and then basically the culture of company, the way people think, behave, and act. Okay, and external is like what are the government regulations, how the competition is there, how the technology is getting advanced with the pace of time. So we have to analyze this both of these environments, like this is internal, this is external, and have to see whatsoever the vision we have made. We have to have strategy for to accomplish that vision. Okay, so are they in sync with each other or not? So this is what we have to do. Okay, then it helps managers to decide like where to compete. So like I told you in the industries, like there are the type of competition at here. If you see, like this is the industry, okay? So it is like if you talk about food and beverage industry, so Tata is having a lot many companies over here. So this is like FMCG industry, you can say, okay? So this is where to compete. Now, like what the customer group who are buying your product, okay? So with the same thing, there will be some external players into the same industry. Say like if we talk about FMCG only, okay, there are companies like Unilever, there are companies like ITC, Patanjali. So this is like where to compete, okay? Then how to compete means like company need to have the strategic advantage. So like whenever you go to the market, you have particular brand name in your mind that I'm going to buy this product. So this is like how you associate your product with the feelings and sentiments of the customers, okay? And what resources to use, like what make company like with its employees, with its technology to have an edge over its rivals, okay? So basically, this analysis is being carried out to identify all the opportunities which are available in the market and minimize the risk so that a company can have the strategic advantage. Okay. So I hope I'm getting clear with the things. In case you are having any of the question between, start posting on the questions. Okay. So this is here like how the strategic analysis work. Okay. So before strategic analysis, I thought to make you aware of the market structure, like the companies which are there into the different type of like market they work in. Okay. So on the top, we have something called is a monopolistic competition. Monopolistic competition is something like where there are lot many companies in an environment and offering the slightly different products. So there is something called easy entry, easy exit over here. Say like we have restaurants in nearby areas. Okay. So it's just like monopolistic, each is having their own specialty, own expertise, and any of the person can start something like restaurant and can exit from the market easily. Okay. So monopolistic with lot many buyers, lot many sellers, and offering slightly different products. Then bipoly is something like there are two major players. Two major players means like earlier, if we talk about this beverage industry, okay, there were like the major players only Coke and Pepsi. If we talk about these professional cameras, major players were Canon and Nikon. Okay, so this is like bipoly. Okay, where we are like two major players into the market, and everyone is going with the bipoly competition. Then what we see over here, oligopoly is a situation in the market where there are few sellers and many buyers. Mean to say few companies. So see, like if we happen to see the scenario around us, if there are banks, okay, there are few banks need to have, it's entry into the market is basically tough. Why tough? Because it's a regulatory condition is there. Say like for banks, we need to have the approval of Reserve Bank of India to start a bank, okay, and the amount of capital required to enter into this type of market is very high. So to start a bank, to start an automobile company, to start an insurance company, we need to have a big capital with us. Okay. So what happened? Like whatsoever the major product we see around us, say like if we talk about automobile, if we talk about banks, if we talk about insurance, okay, all of these companies fall into this category of market, which is called oligopoly. So while it's telecom companies, say like each one of us is making use of our like Geo connection and Airtel connection or Vodafone Idea connection, okay, it's oligopoly. So what happened in this oligopolistic environment? There is something a cutthroat competition. I mean, companies are competing with each other for the market share, for a more number of customers with their better products, better services. So this is the scenario where the strategy matters a lot. Okay. And we have to analyze strategy that how we have to go ahead with the things. Okay. While beating the competition and having a competitive edge in the market. Okay. So this is before moving into the company structure, we have to understand the market structure. So whenever we are talking about a company, we might should know the type of competition the company is facing in a particular industry that company is working in. Okay. So it's like basically monopolistic, oligopolistic, and bipoly. Okay, fine. So any question here? Can I have some other industries in oligopoly? So like I told you about banking, I told you about insurance, I told you about automobile company. Can I have some other company or other industry you feel like are there in oligopoly? Anybody, please? In oligopoly. Yes, please. It is Josh. So like if we talk about pharma companies, they are also again in oligopoly. Okay, so majority of companies are in oligopoly type of competition. Fine. So at here, before going ahead with the strategic analysis, I am putting you through a scenario. It's cosmetic industries, fine, Vishakha. It is like the entry of Zepto into Q-commerce market. Okay. Uh, Q-commerce is something like it's just a quick delivery. Okay. So before Zepto, the market player were like Blinkit and Swiggy. Okay. Having market share basically more than Zepto. But the time Zepto entered in the market, it disrupted the market completely of this Q-commerce, okay, with its unique vision, unique mission, okay, and something like they are doing which other feel like was impossible. Say like before, people were like least concerned about quick delivery of the products, but Zepto made it feel like okay, they can be delivered. So with its unique vision, mission, goals, objective, and strategic analysis, the Zepto has left behind the players, okay, the big players like Big Basket, the Swiggy, Insta, okay. So it's like how the strategy help a company to beat its competition, okay, and to move ahead in the competition, okay. So it's like an example, okay. So while Zepto being there in the market, they were doing a deep strategic analysis, okay. They have to analyze the quick commerce to market, okay, with existing play in the market already like Blinkit and Swiggy, okay, and the market value is like increasing year after year of Zepto because of its unique strategy and strategic initiatives. So if we see here, like what they have done, basically, they have entered into the market, okay, like late after all these companies, okay, and with the pace of time, they are increasing their market share and annual gross volume of revenue, okay. So like this is how Zepto with better understanding of the market, better understanding of the internal environment of the company, like the type of leadership to be to offered in the Zepto, okay, and the type of manpower they will be having, okay, they are moving ahead of the competition, okay. So it's like this is how strategic analysis help a company to go ahead of its competition, okay, to make disruption in the market by deeply analyzing the external and internal environment, okay. So external environment for say like if this is the company at here we are talking about Zepto, okay. So the external environment at here are the environment like what select technology. Uh, there is a question from Bindia. Yes, Bindia, like phone manufacturing companies like Samsung, Apple, etc. Yes, obviously, Bindia, like to start a phone manufacturing company, again, we need to have a lot many, capital with us. So whensoever there are the barriers of entry in the market, like capitals and infrastructure, and whensoever there are just few players in the market who are making phones like this Samsung and Apple are making. So it's oligopolistic. Earlier index of India was there. Okay. So it's not every company can start phone making business. Okay. So it's perfectly fine. They are oligopolistic. So I was talking about Zepto at here, like what makes Zepto to beat its competition and move ahead with the pace of time. Okay. So they have, closely examined the external environment as well as the internal environment. So what did Zepto did? So they know that technology is favorable, okay? While there is 5G in the market, 4G in the market, and while there are not many youths like you people in the market, okay? So they feel like, okay, the acceptance of Zepto will be quite easier, while there were like other players like Blinkit and Swiggy, Instamart already in the market, okay? Then they realized that what can be done to beat the competition. So they hire the manpower, the leadership was exceptionally good. So with the proper understanding of internal and external environment, the company is able to beat its competition and can move ahead of the competition. Okay. So this is how the analysis help companies to go ahead with the things. Okay. Uh, So if we talk about now, this is what the strategic analysis is all about. Okay. As I told you earlier, that strategy is something which is being made, like framed by the top management of the company. Okay. So whensoever there happens something like merger and acquisition, okay, as it happened in case of Air India and Tata. Okay. And whensoever a company is, entering into new product or new business market. Okay. Say like nowadays, there is something like for market for electronic vehicles. Okay, so any of the companies, say like Bajaj was already there, and they want to be to there with the electric vehicles in two wheelers like bikes and scooties. So they need to have something called strategy to be there in the market. So for this strategy to be successful, okay, they need to closely examine the internal and external environment. So if we talk, this is something called as a strategic analysis. So if we talk about the definition, it simply says that we have to study the internal capabilities and external realities. Okay. So like whether my manpower is capable enough to develop a unique product to enter into the new market I'm expecting to move ahead with. This is something being decided by the like the top management of company, like who are the CEO, who are the people in the governing board, okay, and general manager and all. So they decided that okay, fine, we have to make this new product and enter into this new market. Okay, so this is something like the vision or mission they have set for the company. Okay, so before moving ahead with that vision and mission, we need to have strategy, like how we will disrupt the market, how we will come with a new market. Say like if we recently know the company like Blinkit is also getting tie up with the health services. So like you'll be having ambulance sort of things, okay, with these services at home. So this is the new product they are looking into, okay, new market they are looking into. So for that they need strategy. So to effectively implement this strategy, we need to deeply examine the internal as well as the external scenario, a new thing. Okay, so like this Zepto is saying, okay, fine, we'll be giving. We are into quick delivery, quick commerce. So why not? We should. This is something like hypothetical. I'm saying, okay. So we should also enter into this health services or emergency services to the customers. Okay, so this is where to compete, like what the market is, how to compete, what technology you need to have, and what resources to be used, the manpower, the resources we need to have. So this is something like the decision to be to made with the help of strategic analysis. And with the purpose of strategic analysis is we have to anticipate, what how will it be impacted, what will be the threats, what will the opportunities for us, what are the strengths we are having to move ahead with the new strategy. Okay, so any question from anybody from here, like if they want to get clarified something. Okay, so why the strategic analysis have to happen? Basically, there are two type of environments, as I told you earlier, okay, external environment and internal environment. So, firstly, whensoever this strategy is being made, okay, fine. How we have to go ahead with the things, we have to study the external environment. Say like if you would have observed after Q-commerce being into the market, okay, so e-commerce companies like Flipkart and Amazon have faced some challenge in the sense like people are going more with q-commerce. So if you have observed the Flipkart and Amazon like companies are also offering the option of same day delivery to some selected cities. Okay. So this is something like, e-commerce was happening from lot many years back. Q-commerce entered into the industry in last 5-10 years. Okay. So this e-commerce companies were delivering the product in 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. Okay. Thought like their market is getting disrupted. Customers are moving more of towards Q-commerce, and Q-commerce company are also giving the option to have the electronic products with us. So what they offered to have the customer is something called same day delivery. So this is something called is a external analysis. External analysis means like what is there in the market, what type of competition the market is offering or industry is offering, and how to deal with that competition. Okay, so this is external analysis. Then the technology. Okay, then what the government is saying. So this is something like we do with the help of strategic analysis. Then comes internal analysis. Again, the deep understanding of the manpower, say like the employees a company is having with them. Okay, the type of intellectual they are possessing. Okay, the leadership the company is having, the resources, the technology they are having. Okay, so this is internal analysis. So this is basically a component of business planning. Okay, so it help a company to make the right resource investment, how to go ahead with the available capital. Okay, how much capital to invest at which place, and whosoever the leaders. Okay, they can anticipate the probable changes whatsoever are there to be happen in the upcoming time with the help of strategic analysis. Okay, it help companies to think about their rivals, their competition in the market. So as I told you, in oligopolistic competition, there is something called a cutthroat competition. If we talk about pharma company, we happen to have, say, like the top 5, 10 names. Okay, if we talk about telecom companies, there are just 3, 4 names. If we have to talk about automobile companies, again, there are say like again 5, 10 big names, say like Hyundai, Honda, Toyota. Okay, so every company has to think about their rivals, their competition in a way so that they can effectively beat the competition and can have a say like a competitive edge in the market. Okay, and then this analysis provide us a structured way to evaluate the available options we are having. As we went with the first chapter of strategic management, so it was being told to us that strategic is basically about adopting the alternative course of action to have the ultimate objective. Mean to say, in strategy, I'm having plan A, plan B, plan C. Okay, then we feel like, okay, if plan A is getting failed, so I will work with the plan B. If plan B is getting failed, I will work with the plan C, so that whatsoever the ultimate objective is there, that have to be achieved. Okay, then this analysis help companies to assist business in achieving its objectives. Objectives mean like I want to have competitive advantage in the market. Okay. So if we talk about companies like, say, like Apple. Okay. So they are least bothered about the price, the competition in the market. Okay. So it is only because of that they are having a competitive advantage, the technology they are using, say like the security features they are having. Okay. So this is enabling them to go ahead with the things. Okay. Fine. Uh, so is there any question like, or shall I go ahead with the things? Yes, please. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Minu. So I hope I'm able to make the concept clear. So in case you feel like any doubt, any question anywhere, do let me know. Okay. Fine. So, like as I told you, this is something we are concerned about, analysis of strategy. So, analysis of strategy is happening in what way? So, like a company, say like my company, my decided that we have to go into online MBA sort of things. So if we are into education, okay, so we feel like if we are like good accreditation from the NAC, so we have to go with the option to go with online MBA sort of degree. Okay, so while we are going with online MBA, this is something like the goal we set for the upcoming future. Okay, so before going ahead with the things like online MBA, okay, so like we are getting like tutored online. Okay, so we have to observe how we can effectively achieve this particular goal or particular objective of the organization. Okay, so before going ahead, we have to have the strategy. So we decided, okay, fine, we'll be having this type of infrastructure, we'll be having this type of faculty for the things, okay? These will be the students, and this is how the admission is to be made. So this is all the process, all the procedure, all the policy has been framed to effectively implement this particular called online MBA sort of degree, okay? So before going ahead with the things, same way the companies, while they are working over there, okay, say like Vodafone Idea came back into the market, okay? So they have to do something like while competing in the market, they have to do something called external analysis and internal analysis. So external analysis is more of about the customers, the segment, the motivations. So if I talk about say like online MBA, okay, online MBA, the customer, the segment means like the professionals who are working the company, okay, who have done BTech earlier and at very good position. Now to go ahead with the things, they need to have the higher degree. So they're the potential customers for my university, okay, to go ahead with the things. Okay, so segment means like who are the people basically. So we define them on the basis of like their occupation, on the basis of their age. Okay, and the motivations like why people will buy the product. So first analysis is about customers. Since the customer is king, so I need to identify the customers on the basis of their demography, on the basis of their say like occupation, and then the motivation to adopt the product being offered by a company. Say like it is like electric vehicles, okay? So what the people who are gonna to buy the electric vehicles? So if we talk about Indian companies, Mahindra and Tata, they are on the top to produce the electric vehicles, okay? So they have to identify the particular segment of customers and the motivation of people before selling the electric vehicles to those type of customers, okay? Then competitors means if we are into electric vehicles, okay? So we know that what the companies who are like already manufacturing electric vehicles, okay? And like company like Tesla, okay, is a big brand, or it's a first competition. So external competition is being offered, okay? So and internally like Tata and Mahindra, okay, they're competing with each other. Then market. So we presume like with the upcoming time with crisis like say like we have recently seen this Iran war scenario, okay? So we presume like with the pace of time, what will the market size, okay? And how many customers will be inclined towards buying electric vehicles rather than diesel or petrol vehicle, okay? And what are the entry barriers? Entry barriers means say like a company decided, okay, fine, we'll start producing electric vehicles. So electric vehicles is not like something like they can, start immediately. They need to have the technology for that thing. They need to have, understanding of the concepts, type of raw material for those things. So this is something like, environmental variables or entry barriers for the company. Okay. Then comes the environmental issues. This PESTLE stands for political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental analysis. So a company before actually implementing the strategy, they have to do this PESTLE analysis, like how the political environment is favoring the scenario, how the economy is responding, what is the socio-cultural aspect of the company, what technology is being offered in the market, okay, and legal constraints as well as environmental constraint a company has to think about. So a deep understanding of external environment is a must for the company, okay. Then comes the internal analysis. Okay, it is first thing is performance over here. So how the sale will be impacting, how we will satisfy the customers. So customers say like initially they are not inclined toward electric vehicles because they think it's a new technology. Maybe I'll not be able to, get my car or get my scooty, charged or refilled at some petrol station. So this is something like a company has to think in terms of these things as well, okay? The performance, like how it will go ahead with the things. Then this is determinants. What were the past strategies? Whensoever I thought about a new product, new technology, how effectively did I implement it? Okay. Then what are the capabilities we are having? This is something, strategic misfit we say. Like if we try to plan about a new product, say like we are saying electric vehicles over here, and we are not having the technology, the type of technology required for it, type of the manpower, type of employees, say like the knowledge, skill, abilities of the employees. Okay. So that is to be seen as well. Okay. So this misfit should not exist. So this is come to know from the organizational capabilities. Like I should have all the knowledge, skill, abilities of my employees. I should have all those resources before moving ahead with particular strategy. Okay. Then financial sources, obviously a new technology, new product require a lot many money. So what are the sources of finance for me? Where from the revenue will come? So this all this have to be seen. Okay. Then external analysis basically now the question rise, why should a company think so much while they are going with a new strategy? Okay, so as we are talking about this analysis, so external analysis enable a company to identify the type of opportunities and type of threats that are available in the market with its new product. So like we are talking about electric vehicle over here. Okay, so obviously the consequences like Iran war, okay, the global warming is offering opportunities for the companies, okay, to enter into this segment of electric vehicle. May I know like what the threats for the company to enter into this market of electric vehicle? If there are opportunities in the same way, the environment offers a threat as well. So can you tell me like what are the threats for the companies if they are thinking of entering into the market of electronic vehicles? Yes, threats are like number one. Yes, threat will come in the form of obviously, so like for making the electronic vehicle, we need to have the electric batteries. For batteries, is the raw material available to us or not? Okay, so this is a threat. So we need to import something, this thing from China or some other countries, semiconductors and all. Okay, so if we have to, yes, charging point is one of the threat. Okay, yes, small growth of overall market. So see, like this is something like we need to then again analyze that this is why the small growth of overall market is there, Gayatri. So if we go deep into the things, it's about customer acceptance for the things. Okay. Yes. So this long lasting battery is something like the internal. Okay. So whether my company is able to produce long lasting battery or not. Okay. Yes, the price of these companies, say like the government is supporting me, my project or not. Okay. So this is sort of like threat is again external. Okay. While we talk about opportunities and threats, this is being offered from the environment, external environment to my company. Okay. So say like what people think, how they behave, what is their inclination to electric vehicles. It may be opportunity as well as threat for me. Okay. Then we talk about the strengths and weakness. This long-lasting battery, if say like company like Tesla is offering us a long-lasting battery, okay, so this become its strength. Okay, so this strength is possible because of its internal environment. Internal environment means like this company is having the technology for producing the long-lasting battery. Okay, and while my company, say like it's Tata and Mahindra, we are also able to produce the batteries as good as Tesla was producing. So it's become my strength as well. Okay, so this is internal environment to produce the batteries like this. Okay. I hope this opportunity threat and strength weakness is clear, or I need to get it like more clear with some more example. What do you feel like? Yes, anybody, please? Can we have more example of these things like what threats, what opportunities? Say like this is IT companies nowadays. Okay, so what do you feel like are the threats for IT companies? If Infosys, TCS, yes, AI is one of the biggest threat. We being CA, practicing, okay, what is a threat for us as well? This AI, obviously for all the engineers, okay. So is it not an opportunity you feel like? This advancement of AI? Yes, visual. Like we are presuming AI as a threat. Yes, it's an opportunity as well. Fine. So what we can do to have this AI as a strength for us. So obviously, we need all the tools of AI. Yes, definitely to go ahead with all the concepts. So this become our strength at this point of time. Okay, fine. So if I'm not able to cope up with the latest changes, okay, so this become weakness then. Okay. So strength and weakness is something from the internal environment of the company. Okay. And opportunities and threat is something from the external environment of company. So this has to be crystal clear to us. Fine. So I hope I'm able to get the concept clear. Thank you. Then ultimately, when we deeply or closely observe the things in the market, in the company, okay, this leads to the strategic identification and selection. I mean, which of the option we have to go ahead with the things now, okay? So like out of a sudden, this Iran war erupt, okay? So India had the option to import the oil from Russia. Okay, so this is how you behave, you react, or you become proactive with the situation that if this thing happen, what will be the next move? Okay, so this is ultimately the strategic analysis. Fine. Yes, plan B, exactly. Thank you, Vijay. So we are having basically three phases of this strategic analysis. Phase one again, identification of external components in external and internal environment. Okay. So external comprised of customers, competitors, market, and this PESTLE analysis. Okay. And internal is comprised of leadership, manpower, resources, and technology a company is having with it. Okay. Then this external environment is giving rise to like why we are observing this external analysis. This is helping us to know about the threats and opportunities in the market. Okay. And internal analysis helping us to know about all the strengths and weakness a company can have to achieve its objectives or goals. Okay. And then ultimately we are finalizing a strategy and we are going ahead with the implementation of that strategy. Okay. Fine. So this is something like about risk. Okay. So what is the problem with strategy? We have seen, in the recent past, if the wrong strategies be adopted by the company, this may lead to the repercussions like failures. So in the recent past, we have seen a giant attack like Byju's has collapsed. Agree? May I know the reasons like what make Byju's to collapse? Like it was a great company. At one point of time, there was Byju's everywhere while it was Corona and everything. And when what make Byju's exactly, to fall from its pinnacle, to went down like anything. Okay, it's collapsing. So it's basically you're not exactly assess the market, able to access the market. Okay, and you're not assessing the risk of strategy decisions you are making. Okay, so that's a problem. Yes, it's expensive, but somehow somewhere like they went with more of merger and acquisition. Okay, visual. And then the funds, the capital was not being able to be to manage the way they should have been managed. So it is something like yes, yes, the risk. Okay, like while you are going with a particular strategy, now what happened? This strategic analysis don't tell us exactly like which strategy to adopt. Okay, so you have to be to very much careful about the things like what are the risks associated with strategic decisions in short term as well as long term. Yes, definitely. It's giving us the option that you have to go with this strategy, you have to go with that strategies. Okay, this analysis. So it's basically the over the period of time, this strategic decision is basically evolving decisions. Okay, fine. So evolving decision means like you have to have all your numericals, you have to all your figures clear with you. Okay, then you have to decide. Okay, this is a situation. Then what can be done? So that yes, with experience, obviously you have to have that thing as well. Okay, so what are the risks basically? So if we talk about the short term risks, okay. So what I did in external environment, you're not able to interpret the environment. Okay, like what things can lead to your strategic failure. Okay, so this is something like in short time, I'm not able to assess the risk. For the long term, the gradual changes in the environmental or factors, okay, then obsolescence of the technology. So say like if we talk about the long time sort of things, okay, at one point of time, Nokia like company was, the market leader in the market, okay. So they thought like, okay, we are the best in the market, okay, we will be having the competition. So what happened with the pace of time, they were not able to assess like how the market, how the customers sentiments are getting shifted. So say when Google came with Android in the market and it start offering Android to every phone companies, other phone companies. So the inclination of people, were more towards Android phones. Yes. Yes, it was because at one point of time, they were thinking like they are the best in the market. Okay. So they felt like with our Symbian operating system, we are doing the best, and we need not to think about what Android is doing and how the companies or the customers are accepting Android product. Okay, so in the long time, somehow somewhere you were not able to assess the impact of technology or impact of competition on your company basically. Okay, so this is also have to be assessed. Say like what are the sentiments of market, how people are going to behave. Okay, so as we all know that a company, like, yes, you have to consider the changes in external environment exactly. What new technology is coming there. Okay, how people are behaving, or say like getting inclined toward that technology. So say like if we see here, the company like Apple is every year coming with yes, exactly, coming with a new phone model every year in the month of September. So despite being the market leader, they are on the top and they are least bothered about the prices of their competition. Okay, so they are not seeing like what other phone companies like Motorola, MI, Xiaomi, whatsoever companies are charging their product, and it's a premium product now. Apple company is offering. Okay, fine. And then what is happening? Even then, they are, launching a new phone every year. And Apple says that I'll be having my exclusive stores. I'll not be selling my product through any of the retailer. So why is it so? Any idea? It is so because you have to have the unique customer reviews, customer feedbacks with them. Okay. And then while you're paying premium, like purchasing a premium product, okay, you need to have some exclusive feeling. This is something like you have to assess the long term, okay, and short-term impact of strategic analysis, like how the external environment is going to behave in the long term as well in the short term. Okay, so in the short term, exactly, say like if we talk about companies in IT industry, okay, they were doing great. Indian companies like TCS, Infosys were having good business, but out of a sudden, this Claude like company have come with Anthropic. Anthropic was capable of doing the work of 4 or 5 engineers with the efficiency of 10 times more. Okay, so this is the short term. Out of a sudden, the environment has given something a unique new technology, and now how will you counter with that thing basically? That is the analysis they have to make. Okay, and then internal analysis obviously first is this organization capacity. Capacity is basically about the misfit of the things. Okay, misfit means my company is having a big vision. It requires lot many things to do. Okay, and now my company is not having that type of technology, that type of manpower, that type of resources to meet that particular vision or the goals it has been set by it. Okay, so there is again a misfit. Okay, and then there is something called inconsistencies over the long period of time. Obviously, this hope happen because of say like there is a problem with the leadership. There is a problem with the management styles. A few months back, we had a problem with one of the major company called Indigo Airlines. Whenever we are going to airport, there was a mess of the things. So have some idea like what happened exactly with Indigo Airlines, despite being a profit-making company. It's basically the examples are quoted that this was a like great company in Indian aviation industry, okay, making great profits. So may I know the mess happened with the company? It's not poor aircraft basically. It's basically about what happened over here. They're not able to assess the long time consequences of internal environment. What happened? in Indigo Airlines, every like say like whosoever is a pilot with them, okay, they are supposed to fly planes beyond the normal flying hours. Okay, so government this DGCA came with a regulation that any of the this commercial plane pilot will not fly planes beyond 36 hours or like in a week. But most of them were flying this plane for more than this hours. Okay, this limit being set by DGCA. So this created a mess inside the company. Okay, so what happened? They in the long term they have not they were not consistent with the things like this can happen over the period of time. So sometimes the government also intervene for the better things of its employees and everything. Okay, so a company, okay, while they are talking about the strategic analysis, they have to deeply assess, okay, what can be the short-term consequences and what term the long-term consequences in the external environment as well as in the internal environment. Fine. So this mess was basically this chaos in this company was only because of the the management. Basically, you can say the people were expected to work for more than the normal hours. Okay, so this was somewhere the problem with the leadership. Okay, and with the management practices. Fine. So when the regulation came into picture, this chaos has been created. So any other example we can have from here? Like say this was short-term consequences. What type of factors you have to consider for the short term, and what type of factors you have to consider for the long term? While you're making the strategic analysis. Say in aviation, I talked about in long time, you have to consider about technology, okay, the market, the product, and obviously the leadership type you're having, the management practices you're having, and the short time out of a sudden, like what are the resources, what are the employees it is having. Okay, fine. Then this is a strategic plan basically. Okay, strategic plan means while we are analyzing the strategy, what plan a company should have. Fine. So if we talk about strategic plan, again, we need to have a deep understanding of the things, okay, of what are the internal environment and what are the external environment. Okay, fine. So I'm going again into the depth of these things. Firstly, in the external environment, we observed the customers. Customers like market segments, okay, and uh, their motivations and their unmet demands. Say like if we talk about the Q-commerce companies again, say like this Zepto there, this Swiggy there, Swiggy Instamart, and this Blinkit there. So what are the factors they have to analyze in terms of customer analysis? May I know, like what are the the factors which are enabling them to offer the opportunities for them? Yes, please. The question is the company like Zepto, okay, what they have to do in the customer analysis, which is offering an opportunity for them. Uh, Yes, because lower price, like considering customer reviews, giving discounts, fast delivery. The external factor is something what market is offering to you. So if you ask me, Vidya, I will say that this demographic dividend. Demographic dividend means India is expected to a nation of youth, okay, where the young population is say like about more than 60% in country. Okay, and while this young population, what is the advantage or what is the edge this young population is offering to me? This is offering the edge that these youth are, basically adopt the technology in a better way, in a faster way than the people in older population. Okay, so while I know that most of the people in this country are below the age of 35 years of age, okay, and it's a great opportunity for a company like these companies. Okay, okay, fine, you will easily adopt the technology, fine, and you will be more inclined toward these things. Okay, fine. So employment, Vijay, may I know how this employment will provide an opportunity? Yes. It is again, say, like giving rise to something called nuclear families, I can say. So you have to move from your hometown to some other place. So while you're at some other place, obviously, it's a new life. Definitely you're going with the new product for the company. Okay, Digital India, that's great. So this is the analysis of in terms of customer a company have to make. Say, like again, in this Q-commerce company, we expect that who are the customers. These are the customer in segment. These are customer with new employment, the students. Okay. So any of the city where the number of students is more, the company's chances of getting successful is more. Okay. And with the employment is more, the chance of getting this successful is more. Say like if you happen to have say like at religious places, okay. So Q must company feel like okay, but this will take more time while the even the population is more. But while it is about, the places like Hyderabad, Chennai, Delhi, okay, where the youth is more, okay, and employment is more, it is offering the opportunity in terms of customer analysis, fine, okay. Then there comes to the competitor analysis. Obviously, every company need to have something called strategic advantage. Okay. So that whenever you go to the market, that particular brand, particular product enter into our mind. Okay. So we need to have this analysis done with the help of the competitive analysis. Mean to say, who are the competitors in our industry? If we talk about say like telecom companies, okay. So say like I'm Airtel. So the competitors are like company like Jio, Vodafone Idea. Okay. Uh, so these are the competition. Okay. Yes, visual. The question like Blinkit is doing for Zepto, this is something like internal decision of the company. Okay, while you see your competition is doing better than you, so you have to make basically the strategies. Okay, so all the marketing campaigns we see around us. Okay, maybe by the Blinkit, all the new product they are entering the market. So it's like strategic initiatives they make. Okay. So this is again the analysis, the strategies that help a company to beat its competition in that way. Okay, fine. Uh, if you happen to see Airtel, okay, they are coming with Airtel Black sort of things, and whenever you recharge for the higher number, they are more concerned about retaining their customers by offering them free TV channels and all. Okay, this Hotstar, Disney, and all. So this is something like making an ecosystem where you feel like your customer will be retained with you. Okay. Fine. Yes, this is the study of competition, the move we have to make. Okay, that's great. So you have to deeply analyze your competition basically while you are there in the market. Okay, then there comes the market analysis. Market means with the pace of time, what will be the potential size of the market? Okay, if we say about on the one side, the company like Byju's have failed. Okay, but on the other side, there is an inclining trend towards online education, okay, online meetings. So any of the organizations say like they are offering the coaching, they are offering this online MBA degrees sort of things. So it's going online. So we are presuming that the size of the market will grow with the pace of time with better technologies, okay, and better resources we are having. Okay. Here is a concern, say like while we are analyzing the market and we see a huge potential in the market, okay, and we know that this program like online MBA, programs like online coaching for UPSC exams or some other things, they are growing. Okay. And while a great company like Byju's have collapsed. So this is something like the market you have to analyze in depth, not in terms of size, but in terms of the demography associated. Okay. So how this happen basically analysis happen. So if I talk about Byju's, okay, and then they say like there is some other company like EDX and Coursera, if you happen to have the names, and Swayam, okay. So, the customer segment, say like EDX is offering or Coursera is offering me the online certifications and all the, IT professionals or another management professionals are having the professional certification from these website. So these are doing great. Okay. So what make Byju's not to do great in comparison to those companies? Okay. So it is basically in case of Byju's, the customer was the student who are preparing for this NEET exam and JEE exam. So the decisions for this customer segment or this market size is to be taken by their parents. Okay. And while you are into say like Coursera, EDX or same sort of things, the market who is making the decisions to go online is the user itself. Say like I'm a professional and I'm looking for a certification, so I need not to ask my parents. Okay, so I will simply go to EDX and will enroll for any of the data science course. Okay, and will get certified from there. So it is how you have to assess the size, how the size will increase with the pace of time. Okay, growth and profitability obviously with the better technologies. Okay, and better inclination of the consumers towards your company, you are expecting a good growth. Okay, profitability, yes, definitely. And then comes the entry barriers. Entry barriers means what is preventing my company to enter into that particular market. Okay. So the barriers are sometimes the regulatories, the government. Okay. They may tell us, okay, no, things will not happen. Okay. So say like if we talk about online education or say like online certifications, there are not many companies which are there providing us the Seco India, this, that. Okay. But for a professional, obviously the certification from the institutions like EDX, Coursera, or SWAYAM is, or IIT Madras, we can say for engineers, that matters more than these small platforms. So they have to see like what are the entry barriers. Sometimes it is competition, sometimes it is a technology, okay, and sometimes it is the government norms as well. Fine. Then comes environmental analysis. This is basically the broader picture for a company. Okay, broader picture means like how with the pace of time, technology, government, economic factors, cultural factors, and demographic factors in terms of say like the employment of my market, my customers, in terms of their education, in terms of their age, in terms of their gender, is gonna to impact my strategy or my company. Okay. So this is something like you have to do the external analysis deeply, understanding each of these segment of the market, okay, before implementing the new strategy. Okay. New strategy can be in the form of say like merger and acquisition as it happened in case of data in terms of new product, say like it is electronic cars, electronic scooties, electronic bikes. Okay. Say maybe in the upcoming time, we are coming with the hydrogen fueled cars by any of the company, automobile company. Okay. So this is something like, the strategic move by a company to have the competitive edge. Okay, fine. So this is basically the factors in external analysis. So why do we do it? Like why we have to consider all the factors in external environment? It's obviously for the things like what are the opportunities available? Okay, what can be threats posed with the pace of time? We have to understand the trends. As I told you, Nokia failed basically because they were not able to have the trend. Okay, and what are the strategic uncertainties? Fine. So this analysis helped me to address all these issues basically. Fine. Then comes something called internal analysis. Internal means it's while you enter inside the gate of a company, okay, it's something like internal analysis, like how the factors inside the company are impacting or getting affected. Okay, so if you happen to go into a manufacturing companies like Honda or some Hero cycles and all, there's something called Kaizen they have written on the gate. Kaizen means continuous improvement. So how things are happening inside the company, fine, exactly. How will you move towards a profitability? How will you enhance your sales? Okay. Profitability is something like about economy of scale. Okay, economy of scale. So like we know that a company like Coke and Pepsi can offer their product throughout the nation at a uniform cost. Say like if 200 ml of Coke is costing me 20 rupees in Srinagar, this will be the same price in Chennai, this will be the same price in Assam, and this will be the same price in Gujarat. Okay. So this something they are able to do is because of they are producing their product in bulk. Okay. They have a very good supply chain management system. Okay. They have very good logistic management system. Okay. Yes. This is something called we call this economy of scale visual. Okay. So this is how a company decide about profitability, like how I will I attain my profitability. So economy of scope, economy of scale, then experience curve. With the pace of time, the efficiency of my employees should also increase. If they are producing, say, like 10 bottles in 1 hour, after 2 years, the same employees is expected to produce, 15 bottles per hour. So this is how the profitability will be ascertained. Okay. Then sales, obviously, how will you enhance the sales of your product? Obviously, through advertisement, through promotion, through brand image. Then customer satisfaction. For this thing, we always take customer reviews. But okay, so this is being done by the company. Obviously, a company had to work a lot upon its quality. Okay, so that the product qualify the expectations of customers for its satisfaction. Okay, so if we talk about, say, like company like Apple, Samsung, they work great upon the quality of product. Okay, to meet their customer expectation and to get them satisfied. Okay. And relative cost means somehow, somewhere, it is like bottleneck competition. Okay, so how my product is going to be a bit of lesser price than my rival. So like we talk about companies like Airtel and this Geo. Okay, these companies are work quite closely on the cost factors so that you can offer your services, offer your products at somehow at a lower price than your rival. Okay. Yes, definitely, definitely. So this is something like you have to work, in depth for all these things. Okay. Then what are the new product or services we are offering? So when we talk about, say, like if it is telecom companies giving us Hotstar subscription, giving its Disney subscription, it's something giving this new scheme. Okay, something like that they are coming with a new product with new offers. Okay. Uh, Yes, live match streaming. Exactly, exactly. So that's how they like able to retain their customers and then get them more satisfied. And ultimately, this human source is the type of employees we are having. So what type of employment a company has given, who are their employees, whether they are good enough. So you would have seen that a lot many companies go to places like NIT, IITs, IIMs, to have the top notch of employees for them. Okay. So what benefits they are offering to their employees? Obviously. So these all things will matter a lot. Okay. Then there's something second factor in internal analysis comes the determinants analysis. Determinants means past and current strategies. Say like how the culture of company have changed over a period of time with its leadership, with its management. Okay. What the strategic problem the company would have faced in implementing the new decisions? What are the capabilities in terms of manpower, in terms of resources the company is having, say like it is technology. As I told, like if Vodafone Idea is not able to compete, what are the challenges the company is facing? What are the capabilities the company is having? Okay, so financial resources, obviously, we are from the finance will come. Okay, and then what are the strengths and weakness for the company? Okay. So this is something like internal analysis. Okay, the company is having. They have to think deep into the things. Then there comes this internal analysis enable a company to have its strengths, weakness, problems, constraints, and uncertainties. Okay, so great companies select Tata, Birla, Adani, Ambani obviously have something called strategic stance with them. Okay. And weakness means there can be some corner which is left, uncovered, untapped, untouched, which is enabling your competition to move ahead of you. It become a weakness. Okay. So whoever is a market leader, they have to think deeply into the factors like weakness. Okay. So here is a company like, say, like Pidilite. Pidilite is a adhesive company. Okay. It's an adhesive company. So any of the adhesive product we see or we think about in our life, so like it is Fevicol, Fevikwik, M-Seal, whatsoever, is are all the products of Pidilite. So it's the strength of company that a customer is not able to think of any other product than its product. Okay. And weakness means there was some weak area, untapped area my company was not able to cover, and my competition covered it. If you would have seen in say like rural areas, wherever the schools are, okay, so there are not the brand products like this Pepsi, this Lay's, or some other products are getting sold. So it's just a small any of the packet, any of the company with having any without having any brand name that's sold. So it's weakness that these companies are not able to tap that particular geographical area because of its supply chain management system. So what problems company face, what constraints they are having, and what uncertainty they are having is all because of this internal analysis. Okay. So it basically, this analysis enable a company to identify obviously the strengths the company is having, the weakness the company is having, what constraint the company is having, and what uncertainty the company is having. So before implementing any of the strategies, say like whatsoever the company is feeling like, whether it is merger, whether it is acquisition, whether it is a new product development, whether it is entry into a new market, okay? So they have to think deeply about the things, okay, about these two things, basically from external environment and internal environment in terms of all these factors, okay, as being mentioned over here, from opportunities to market uncertainties. They have to deeply evaluate. Okay, so why should companies have strategies? Say like every big name we see is facing a competition from every other, its rivals, its technology, from government. Sometimes some regulations will come in a way. Okay, so if they have the strategy, they will be able to be to there as a market leader or market challengers. So you have to deeply analyze these factors basically. Okay, so these analysis help a company to identify the alternatives, say like the plan B, what the plan will be. Okay, then selecting the exact strategy, as I told you, analysis is helping to have the different strategies, but select which one to select them, obviously on the basis of the knowledge and on the basis of the figures we'll be having with the help of, say, like research. Okay, so we'll be selecting a strategy and we'll be implementing it, and we will be going successfully with the pace of time. Okay. Uh, so is it clear up to here? Is there any question you want me to, clarify from this slide here? It is a major slide. It's a gist of things basically, like how things happen after setting the vision, goals, mission, objectives, and the strategy being finalized. So that has to be implemented after a deep analysis of this internal and external environment. Okay. Thank you, Aman. So next is basically, it is not basically uh, being a manager, we select any of the strategy. Okay. So strategy is not static as I'm mentioning over here. Okay. It evolves over a period of time. Okay, fine. So whatsoever the strategy we are planning, say like it is a new product development. Okay. So like I'm having this bottle of Borosil. Okay. This company is planning to have a digital bottle, which is, uh, depicting the temperature of water inside the bottle. Okay, or say like a thermostat bottle with 24 hours of the capability to keep the water cold or hot. Okay, so it's basically again a new product for the company. That type of product, until now the company was producing simple metal bottles and selling the market, okay, with a good brand name. So we have to see that whenever we are entering into a new product or new market, what are the capabilities we are having with us? What are the external factors, like who is the competition? What is the technology already available with us? So there has to be, balance of all these things. The type of resources the manpower is company is having, and the type of challenges being posed in the market with the technology, with the competition. Okay, whether we are able to meet them or not. Okay, fine. So it is a continuous decision basically. Okay, it's not static that we decided, okay, we'll move with this thing and it's a final. So as we see here, there is a company called Syntax. Okay, Syntax is basically a company into which is what's the water tank we are having on our roof, okay, on lender, is made by Syntax. So they decided that they have to move from water tank into a new market of bathroom doors. Okay, so why they decided? They decided because they already having the very good supply chain management system. They are supplying their water tanks, this plastic tanky, okay, to each of the retailers throughout the country. Okay, so they felt like, while my truck is moving with the water tanks, why not they should move with the bathroom doors? Okay, so this is something like they are entering into a new product. Okay, so they have to, analyze the external as well as internal environment before coming with this product. Okay, fine. Uh, okay. Analyzing their capabilities, their threats, their opportunities, and getting it done. Fine. Okay. Any question from here? I hope it is clear. Thank you very much. Uh, then it is the ecosystem of the business basically. Okay, this ecosystem is all about the different layers, different type of system. Yes, this SWOT analysis, Aman, is about if we talk about the last slide here, internal and external analysis is about the SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat of the company, and then we have to take it deeply, great understanding. Okay, and okay, fine. So if I talk about the new slide here, this is the ecosystem of business. Okay, ecosystem of business is all about what are the factors, or ecosystem is basically an environment. Okay, so like we living in our home. Okay, we have a pet with us, who are our neighbors. Okay, who are the members in our family. So how do we interact with each one of them is something called is ecosystem. Okay, so in the same way, if we talk about any of the company, say whether it is a big company like Tata Steel, Airtel, Vodafone, what I would feel like, okay? So there are different layers of ecosystem, okay? At the first layer, at the core of a company, it is something called internal environment of the company, okay? I'm going to my office, okay? Where my boss is, okay? What is the timing of company? Say like it is from 9 to 6, 9 to 5, whatever it is, okay? What are the promotional avenues available? Okay, how my efforts are being recognized by the management? It's something like internal environment. Okay, so it's a layer one, like it's my home, my family. Okay, so so if we talk about internal environment, it is happening in that way. Okay, then it is composed of like people like internal environment of company. Who will be the people in internal environment of company? Any idea? It's employees of company. Fine. And can I have more answers? Internal environment of company is comprised of like what are the components of internal environment of company? Yes, Bindia, employees, workers, manager, structure, management. That's great. Management mean say the leadership. Okay. Then there is something called organization culture as well. Okay, culture is structure is like how the hierarchy is being made over there. Okay, like who is the general manager, who is the branch manager, who is the regional manager, sort of things. And culture is the way people think, behave, and act inside a company. Okay, so like you would have been knowing that Google is offering a culture of flexible working hours. If your shift is from say like 9 to 6 and you're busy in the morning, you can come at 12 and can leave the office at 9. So it's something called the flexible working hours, okay? To keep their employees satisfied, motivated. Yes, exactly. So this is internal environment, like how the people are behaving, thinking, acting inside a company office. So it's basically leadership that frame the culture, okay? But policies are there, but practices are there. So this is in ecosystem. At the core of ecosystem is something is its employees, its leaders, and managements. Exactly. Then the second core is the stakeholders. Stakeholders mean who are the people around the organization. Obviously, somebody is investing money in a company. Okay, so it become the stakeholder. Who are the customers who are buying the product of company are the stakeholders. Exactly, investor are the stakeholders. Then who are the stakeholders? Promoters are the stakeholders, definitely. Banks are the stakeholders. Customers are the stakeholders. And who else is the stakeholders? Like who are having the direct or indirect interest in the company. Okay, government is a stakeholder. Exactly. So how things are moving, say like recently would have come to know about the new labor laws. Okay, so for tax, for the welfare of labor, so this labor law is getting implemented in the year 2026, being framed back in year 2025. Okay, so the government is concerned about, the unorganized labor in the company. Okay, so they are basically stakeholders defining rules, norms for the labors. Okay, so they become stakeholder in that way. Fine. Then third one become this industry shaping the competitive forces. So say like sometimes it's a confusion, like what is industry, what is company, okay? So if we talk about the difference between industry and company, it goes something like this. Industry is a group of companies of similar type, okay? So like we talk about telecom industry. So telecom industry is comprised of companies like Airtel, yes, Vodafone, Idea, Geo, a group of companies in the same sector. Yes, yes. Some more company here. Yeah, yes, BSNL is there. Fine, great region. Fine. So this is telecom industry. Then this is industry shaping competitive forces. So how the industry is, shaping the competitive forces. How these companies, say like the four company you mentioned over here, Vision. So how it is shaping the forces. I mean, what type of technologies companies coming with? Okay, what is the signal strength? What is the edge a company is having over its rivals? So recently, if you last year, this Starlink was coming to India, okay, and they were offering the telecom services on the basis of satellite connections rather than like having this lease line connections. So it was disrupting basically in that way the industries, okay. So we have to see like what are the forces, what type of technology is available there, what type of products are available over there. So company have to think deeply about it in this ecosystem. Fine, got it. The next one is domestic environment. Domestic mean within the country, okay? So within the country mean this PESTLE analysis as we discussed earlier. PESTLE means what is the political environment, what is the social culture, okay? Economic, ecological, and technological factors. We'll go deep with these things. Then comes international, obviously. Recently, our pharma companies are doing great. Yes, political and all visual. Pharma company was doing great. So US president thought like I should have more of the tariff from country like India. Yeah, definitely. So it is obviously disrupting my business while I'm a company like Ranbaxy or Cadila and exporting my medicines to country like US. So definitely this will impact my business. Okay. So I have to have a close look on all the things in my ecosystem in terms of my internal environment and yes, disrupted supply chain management. Yes, this definitely disrupt my customers will not be buying anymore from me because of this disruption in supply chain. Okay, so while we are talking about this ecosystem, these are the factors to be considered by a company in terms of its internal and external environment. That what the management is, what who the stakeholders are, how the industry is shaping the competition. Okay, and what are the domestic elements and what are the international environment element. Okay, fine. So I hope it is clear. Then moving ahead with the slide, I just pose a thing over here. This is the latest drink of Campa Cola named. Anybody have heard the name Campa Cola? Yes, great, great. So this product belong to which company? Any idea? Yes, it belonged to Reliance, Mukesh Ambani product. It's the Reliance basically, okay? So before Campa Cola was there in the market, it was basically a bipoly market. Bipoly means there were only two companies called Coke and Pepsi, okay? Yes, definitely. So each of the product, whether it's Miranda, whether it's Dew, whether it's, Pepsi, Coke, Sprite, whatsoever. So there is a substitute product available with each of these companies in the market. Kinley, you see, Aquafina, we see. So these companies were offering it. Okay. So with the entry of this market, okay, this thing happened. So I'm at here with the things like what happened recently in the external environment. So as we know, first thing was tariff policy of US and H1B visa norms. Yes, definitely this has disrupted the external market. Then, whensoever this union budget happen, we have to see what is the taxation policy, what is the GS, what is the excise duty. So as we know that in the recent budget, there was a more hike of these tobacco products. The company want to discourage the use of this product. So a company like ITC is getting impacted, because you are increasing the tax or GST on cigarettes or any other tobacco product. Okay. Yes, definitely, definitely. It is something like we have to see. Okay. Fine. Then in elections, again, you have to see, it is the election are happening in states like Assam, West Bengal. Okay. So we have to see like which government will be there, and my relation with the particular government has to be, better one. And central government being there in a stable central government is also helping companies to grow a lot. So like in Delhi Metro, it is L&T which is working the things over there. Okay. So while it is like you're having projects from the central government, so there is no problem until unless government is changed. Okay. So this help a company a lot while they are going. Yes, definitely, definitely. I'm seeing that we are quite synchronized. Thanks, Vijay. Uh, then there comes the trends in the society. Okay. So if we talk about culture and trends in the society, there is, increasing culture of online shopping versus offline shopping. So we can say that people are getting more of inclined towards online shopping with advancement in technologies, with say like cheaper data we are having on the phone, okay, then offline shopping and more varieties. Then there are something called market forces sometime as well, okay. Market forces means like what happened exactly. So this is technological advancement. Say like Microsoft came with a new version of Windows 11. Okay, so yes, 5G phone is a market technological advancement. So while they came with a Windows phone, they will start giving support to Windows 10 platform. Okay, they want each one of their customer to have Windows 11 on the system so that the security updates can came free of cost from Microsoft from time to time. And anybody having say like old laptop, which is say like 5, 6 years old and not able to install Windows 11, definitely they need to get it changed to have the new operating system. Okay, so it's just like how this software version is giving a boost to the sale of laptops of Dell or HP. Okay, so this is how these market forces go hand in hand on one side and another side. Okay, fine. And obviously how the inclination of customers is moving towards more say like we are aware customer, we don't want more of the pollutions, so we are going towards electronic vehicle. There is a concern of global warming, there is a concern of increasing fuel prices. So I feel like okay, EV is fine. Whenever I'll buy a new scooty, I'll buy an EV scooty. Okay. Yes, is it there, electronic vehicle of Royal Enfield? uh, I'm not aware of this thing. So if they plan it like this is something like market forces working over there, okay? Because customers are getting more inclined towards environmental friendly vehicles. Fine, okay. Then there comes speculations. Speculations means like recently we have witnessed a huge surge in the price of gold and silver in our country. Okay, so this is all speculations. Like you are presuming yes, like the gold price or silver price will increase on next day. So there is mass buying, mass selling sort of things. So it's again the market. It is impacting one of the market force. So companies which are into say like gold business need not to do anything, okay, to get their gold or silver sold. Okay, so it's just because of speculation that is happening over there. Okay, and then the obviously the competition in the market. Obviously, as I told you in oligopolistic environment, there is a huge competition inside the companies. So we have to take into considerations. This was bipoly earlier with the entry of Coca-Cola. This become oligopoly, isn't it? Yes, they are driving the prices. So we have to take into considerations like what is happening around us and how will it impact my company policies and the culture of my company. Okay, fine. Is it okay? So next we talk about here is again this is one of the example over here. Iran war has impacted the export of jewelry as the insurance cost skyrockets. Obviously, whenever the jewelry is getting exported, this is India's this is a news of Economic Times of April 15, 2026. Okay, 2 days back news. So this business has been impacted. So export from like India to other country has declined by 35.23%. Okay, so why this export has declined? Because of this Iran war. Okay, the insurance company are not getting the product insured, and obviously it is impacting the uh, export business. Okay, and second, obviously this is a big hue and cry in IT companies that the Anthropic new cloud has threatened. Okay, so this again a big move towards AI and disrupting the IT industry, and the share price of IT industry has gone down with the launch of this new cloud the launch of Anthropic by Cloud. Okay, so these were the recent trends in the market. So how these trends basically, externalities. Yes, turbulence is definitely is causing turbulence. Okay, so how it is impacting basically the business. Okay, so first thing is in case of this Iran war, it is called geopolitical and economic shock. Geopolitical means across the globe, what is happening in other countries. Okay, but this conflict of Iran war is disrupting my business because my logistics is getting impacted, my supply chain is getting impacted, and my because of my insurance cost is going higher. Okay. Uh, Yes, great. That's how it is happening. And this launch of Anthropic by Claude is something like a technological shock. Okay, technological shock means, but in the case two, uh, each of the company who has hired software engineers for them, okay, will move towards this automation definitely. Okay, and this will help them. Like this is again the company are doing for the cost reduction, but another consequences, as you're saying exactly, is the layoff of their employees. That's great visual. So it's again disrupting the environment inside the company in term of the culture of company, in term of the perception of employees to other company, and the company is looking the opportunities in terms of pricing powers, margins, and ultimately leading to turbulence. Yes, disrupting the internal environment, definitely. Okay, so this is how things outside the company are happening. The leadership is like having no role to play, employees having no role to play, but consequences outside is obviously disrupting the culture, the environment, and obviously the employees inside. Okay, so we should have a clear idea of things, how things go outside and how it is disrupting my environment. We can't simply say, okay, fine, we are a great company and we are not need to worry about the external factors at all. So this is a deep analysis a company might should have while they have to think about the things. Okay, fine. This analysis is why it is important, because it is impacting the decision-making capacity. Okay. And whenever we make the strategy, it is all about policy, process, and procedure. Policy is something the written document a company is having. Okay. Say like a company may have the policy that I will not hire somebody below 60% of the marks in 10th graduation and any of the professional degree. So it's a policy. Okay, process that how things will happen. Okay, so you'll be going with online interview. So it's process. Okay, how things will happen. Then procedure is what will happen. So after you went with the online interviews and everything, what procedure you adopted to ensure the right candidate for the right job. So if this is online interview and online exam, so most of the companies what they will do, say like the Asian Paint, they will be having the proctored exam for their interviews. Okay, so implementation of this proctored exam becomes under procedure, that if the exam is happening, it is proctored exam. Fine. So strategies basically have to address all these issues while they are made. Uh, yes, with the policy, with the process, and with the procedure. Okay, they have to be too clear with the things. Okay. So business and environment, obviously, this need to again study uh, because you have to identify opportunities and threats. Okay, you have to give direction to the growth. There has to be continuous learning for the company. And then there is something called, Go Green initiative happening nowadays. This is called Green Human Resource Management. We are making use of less of papers. We are making more use of online meetings to save the time and transportation and all and all. Okay. So ultimately, we have to have strategy with a proper understanding of business environment to meet our like competition, to beat them, and to have an edge in the market. Fine. Is it clear, or I need to get clarify something, please? Yes, thank you, Visual. So while we are into this, system, there are two type of environment. Thank you very much. One is a micro environment and one is macro environment. Okay, micro basically means smaller things. Smaller in the way, say like it's a company here at the core of this circle farm. It can be say like any company you feel like it can be Tata, it can be Wipro, it can be any say like fan making company like Khaitan, okay, and Bajaj can say, okay. So the company in its micro environment had to think about who are the customers, okay. So customers mean existing base that the firm relies on. So like if you happen to go on the market nowadays, you will see lot many hoardings on the roadside depicting this air conditioners, okay, and depicting cold drinks. Okay. So what is like why the companies are into this much of mass advertisement while this summer is reaching? Okay. So while the summer is reaching, obviously the companies knew that the sale of cold drink will be increased, sale of air conditioners or coolers or fans will increase. So they are doing, to have it for the new customer or to satisfy the existing customer base, whoever the user, they feel like, okay, my company is getting reflected on the road. Okay. So in micro environment, first of all, a company has to take care of, yes. It's his customers. Like how can I have new customers for me and how can I satisfy more of my customers? Okay. With all the advertisements on the roadsides or some other media. Okay. YouTube and all. Fine. Uh, yes, great. So then there comes something called second place, the employees. Okay. For employees, the thing that matter is their KSA. Okay. This KSA stand for the knowledge, skill, and employees. As we know that the bigger companies like say like it is Google, say like it is Microsoft, and they are coming to IIT Mumbai or IIT Delhi, they are hiring the engineers, BTech CSE engineers at one of the highest package, and that make a news throughout the country. Okay, they have been given a package of 2 crore or 3 crore. Okay. So they are hiring, they are like one or two engineers at this much of high package because of the KSA inside them, like the knowledge they are having with them, the skill they are having with them, and the abilities they are having with them. You know? Yeah, definitely. So it's basically employees who is at the second level in the micro environment. Okay. And thirdly, the company have to see the local community they are dealing with. Okay. So here is an example of Manesar, Haryana incidents. This incidents happened somewhere in the year 2009-10. Okay. So there was a Manesar is in Haryana basically, and Maruti is having a big plant over here. So what happened over here? Few of the employees of like laborers basically of Maruti plant have set fire inside the plant. Okay. And few people were burnt alive, including GM of the company. Okay, so this is a local community. Basically, what the problem at here was, this Maruti major share of share of Maruti is being overtaken by Suzuki. 51% Suzuki and 49% Maruti can say. Okay. So the work culture of Suzuki, they're Japanese basically. So the work culture is like, 9 means 9 for them. You can't delay things by even 1 minute. So what Suzuki has implemented over there, if you are coming at 9:05, your half day salary will be deducted. Okay. And if lunchtime is from 2 to 2:45 and you are coming at 2:46 or 2:47, your 1/4 of salary day will be deducted. If the tea time is from 3:45 to 4 p.m. okay, and you are coming at 4 5 p.m. So 4 at 4 4 5, so again your salary will be deducted. So this create a rag inside the youth basically who are working over there, and it was basically their land earlier Maruti has acquired with the pace of time, okay, and they felt like okay, there's a cultural misfit. Yes, definitely, Menu. It happens. It's culture basically. Japanese feel it like that way. So they are not emotional, sentimental like we Indians. Okay, they are just concerned with this work. Okay, this has to be done in this way. Okay, so what happened? This create a rag inside the companies. Okay, so it happens. Nasik TCS case, you are saying visual. Yes, basically, yeah, definitely. We have to think about the community we are dealing with while you're in micro environment. So ultimately, there was some casteism remark in the company, okay, and they set everything on fire, and this became a big incident for a company like Maruti Suzuki, yeah, okay. So whenever we are in a community, we have to think about like the sentiments of those people in that community. Yes. So this is again the part of micro environment. Then obviously, who are my suppliers? Okay, so like it's summer is coming, and then this rainy season is coming. Okay, I need to have something called Oromos or something to kill mosquitoes, and I went to the shop and I didn't find it over there. Definitely, I will buy some substitute product or some other product. So while you are being, market leader and any of the name that came in your mind while you have to, get free of mosquitoes is Oromos or something like that, but your supply chain is not that good. So what will happen? My substitute will be sold out. Fine. Okay. So this is the things happening in micro environment. Okay. So in micro environment, I have to take care of, okay. In last, there is finance as well. Obviously, a company have to think that where from the finance will come from investors, from, the company, what are the resources where from the company will like increase its financial revenues. Okay. Fine. Shall I go next? Thank you. Then there come macro environment. Macro is the bigger landscape, basically. As we talked about, first is demographics. Demographics mean to say, obviously, I'm targeting my company is a company like Zepto, okay? So I have to think about population dividend. Population dividend means how many of the population that is lying below the age of 35 years, which is making India and young India. Okay, so I know that in this population, where 60% of population is around about below the age of 35 years of age. Okay, my potential customers will be more than any of other country because they are more inclined toward the adoption of technology. Okay, fine. So economic is like what are the economic consequences that is happening, the gross domestic production, the per capita income that need to be to think about. Natural is basically environmental. Okay, so you would have seen that some of the companies have banned the usage of plastic or polythenes, or in recent government this judgment it was coming that the companies will not sell their product like Uncle Chips, Lays, Kurkure we got in the market. Well, in that type of plastics they are selling. So the company is concerned about natural. Okay. Then legal is obviously the recent labor laws that happen as of now. Okay. Then political, obviously, how things are moving. Okay, fine. So this is the macro environment, and it's basically a broader dimension. There is something called macroeconomics as well. So we have to study in this macro environment the international scenario, the national scenario, which is impacting each type of industry and each type of company in that particular country. Okay. So there is a tool basically that is called the PESTLE tool. Okay, PESTLE tool is all about like the things. Yes, it's a dashboard sort of thing of PESTLE. Okay, so we like categorize these macro environment factors into these categories. Okay, first comes our political. Political means what is the ideologies of a particular, regional party that is having over there. Okay. What are the taxation policies? What are the regulatory policies? So this is something called as a political factors that is happening. Okay, fine. So companies sometime, there is a term called BPO and KPO. BPO stand for business process outsourcing and KPO stands for knowledge process outsourcing. So companies, whatsoever the IT companies or manufacturing companies outsource their business to developing nations, say like Thailand, India, or some other country. Okay, on the basis of they see the political stability over there. Okay, and which party is there and what the ideology of that particular country is over there. So this is something called political factors based upon the stability of the government, ideology of that particular government, and the taxation policies. Okay, fine, of that company. Fine. Okay. Then second is economic factor. Economic factor is about, BPO stand for Visual Business Process Outsourcing. So if we see like American Express Bank, okay, so it is American bank, but the queries of that bank is being, resolved at here in India. Okay, so this is like BPO sort of thing. BPO means I have outsourced my business to India, and people in US will feel they will dial a customer helpline number of American Access Bank, and they are the American customers basically. Okay. So the call of that particular country is routed to this country, and it will be answered in this country. And this company called American Express Bank have outsourced the business to India because there is a dollar difference, and they're getting the labor at a quite low price than the labor in US. So this is giving a business opportunity for country like India, and obviously for them. And KPO is a bit higher level. This stands for knowledge process outsourcing. So it hire basically the professionals, say like the advocates. Okay. So any of the law firm of say like Europe or US is hiring advocates over in here in India. Okay. To address their local law matter, related matters. So that they will start KPO here in India. Okay. Yeah, fine. So this again political factors has to taken into consideration. Okay, then economic factors obviously the stability has to be to seen. Okay, so we know in the recent past our neighboring countries like Bangladesh, Pakistan have these economic issues. So any of the country, any of the company who is planning to outsource their business, okay, so they will definitely see like which country is stable, whether it is China, whether it is Pakistan, whether it is India, whether it is Bangladesh, okay, in terms of politics. Okay, obviously this will reflect the economic factors and determine the cycles, interest and exchange and everything. Definitely. Then definitely there come the lifestyle and trend of people. This comes under social, and if we see what are our religious views, what are our opinions that have to consider. If we talk about a company called this McDonald, McD, Domino's and McD's are these pizza and burger companies. Yes, yes. So McDonald do not sell any of beef burger here in India. Okay. So any idea why don't they do it over here? Yes, yes, they are not selling like they are brand names in burgers, in pizza and all. But this type of product is not being sold in India because of not political interference, because of the socio-cultural factors. Yes, definitely. We worship animals. So we they have to, take into consideration the type of lifestyle, the yes, religious belief. That's great visual. So they have to see like this is the sentiments of people over here, and that's why we are not gonna to sell a product like this here in India. Okay, so that comes socio-cultural factors basically. Okay, then there comes something called technological. Obviously, what new technology is coming. Whenever we are talking about Android, it's a new version of Android 13, 14, 15. When we are talking about Apple, new Apple phone 7, something like that, Windows 10, 11. 4G, 5G. Nowadays, if you have to buy a phone, none of us will buy a phone of 4G type phone. Okay. So this is obviously impacting we people, this Q-commerce, like it's again disrupting the Indian sentiments. Okay, so a company have to see like what is the technology which is emerging in the market, prevalent in the market, and how that technology is to be to use for the growth of company and for effective implementation of the strategy. Okay, and legal is basically about the regulatory bodies. So recent labor laws, yes, definitely the codes. Okay, regulatory means something like in the recent like few years back there was an issue of Paytm. Paytm is a big company. This was a company which has started, UPI system here in India. So the problem with Paytm was like, what was the issue? Yes, UPI was being given a Paytm, but the issue was like they have some, Paytm bank have some problem with Reserve Bank of India. So there was some issue with KYC sort of things. Okay. So the company came into news and the share price fell drastically. Okay. So this is something like somehow, somewhere they're not, compiling, like this, they're not, adhering to the norms of regulatory bodies or legal constraints. So that's again poses challenge for the companies. Okay. Fine. And then from E, there come the ecological issues. Ecologicals means like how environmental. Yes, SBI in case of Yes Bank visual, this was not the regulatory. Yes, this is also regulatory, but internal management was a bigger problem. Actually, CEO of Yes Bank have oversold. Has given the false reports of balance sheet of Yes Bank. So there was a problem like this bank was doing unethical practices being a bank. Okay. So obviously legal factors came into picture. That's how the Yes Bank have had its story. Okay. Then environmental factor basically again this is ecological issues, energy consumption, and disposable legislation whatsoever are there. So we have to adhere to the norms. Say like if we recently see there are all the cars, all the two-wheelers have to be to Euro 4 compatible. Okay, so E4, Euro 4, Euro 5. It's just again being the decision being made to take environmental factors into consideration. Okay. So this is how the pestle a broader, yes, pollution, yes. So this is how the company have to consider the broader perspective of the business forces that exist in the market. Okay, and then they have to think from each of these perspective that what are the political factors, what are the economic factors, what are the social factors, technological factors, legal factors, and environmental factors that may impact my business with the pace of time. Okay, fine. I hope it is clear up to here. Thank you very much. And then this is something like I'm bifurcating these factors like what in political come, what in economic come. So in political, as we discussed, it's stability of the government from last 5 years, 10 years, which government is going to be there. What is the ideology of government? Obviously, like the principles. Okay. Then taxation policy, which sector they want to increase. Say like now we would have seen about this carbon credit was a new thing being introduced by the government of India in its budget. Okay, so it's just like they like think like how things can be changed with the pace of time in terms of agriculture and all. So regulatory bodies are the bodies like Reserve Bank of India. Okay, fine. And this mutual fund and insurance have IRDA, Insurance Regulatory Development of India. Okay, and SEBI and all. Okay, so this is again the policies of government and this is political factors basically. Okay, how the government is behaving, how the government, what are the priorities of government inside a country to do a business, a favorable business. So like Digital India push is again one of the government initiative. Okay, Make in India push is government initiative. Helping companies to start their startup India is again a government initiative. So happening these companies to have business here in India. Okay. Then in economy situation, obviously we have to see like what are the industries which are growing, what are the end users, what is the gross domestic productions, what is the per capita income, what are the interest and exchange rates. Okay. What is the unemployment and inflation rate? Okay, so these factors help in depth. Okay, then as we discussed in social, yes, definitely, exactly. In social and cultural, we have to have the lifestyle trends. Manesar incidents was the example of this thing. In demographic, obviously, the people, it's basically about demography, it's about a study of population, basically. Okay. how many of the people are in the age group of what age group, what gender they are having, what education qualification they are having, what occupation they are having. So population dividend is a part of this thing, obviously. Then the attitude and opinions, obviously, if we are brand loyal customers, okay, this the company are working towards ecosystem nowadays, okay. So like I'm having an Apple phone, okay. So this Apple phone will be compatible with your my MacBook, okay. So a person is having MacBook but not Apple phone, they will feel like, yeah, my phone is not getting, having some sync issues. So companies, think about this attitude, opinions. So while you are making Geo connection or Airtel connection, you're getting live cricket streaming, you're getting newspaper free, you're getting online shopping. So this is something like, all things that has to be to considered with the customer attitude and opinions. Okay. So what technology the company is using, how their brand name is known by the customers again at here, and how frequently the customer buy a product, that is the buying pattern basically. Okay. So consumerism is there, or like we are the Indians, wise Indians, we think twice before buying a product. Okay. So that is to taken into consideration by the companies as well. Okay. Then there's obviously the religious factors. You might would have seen at the time of Diwali or Christmas, and the sale of online companies, they always come with a lot money discounts. Okay. So how they come with the discounts? Because they know this is a peak time where the, the sale of electronic products or some other products will be maximum. Yes, definitely. So this is basically social cultural factor over here. Okay. And in technological, if we talk about, this is replacement, okay, majority of technologies, 4G to 5G, your Euro 3 to Euro 4. Yes, definitely. Visual, this is Festival of Amazon. This is like social factors, they are taken into consideration, okay? So in technology, we have to see the innovation potential, okay? Innovation potential, say like the drones market nowadays, we have to see how many things drones can do, how India can perform in its defense sectors. So you have to see all those things basically in technological factors. Then legal is basically the regulatory environment, as we know. So new labor codes, new regulatory compliance comes under legal factors. And in environment, obviously, this carbon credit, okay, and this go green initiatives are all the environmental factors. Yes, definitely. So can we have a break of 10 minutes? We will resume back at 99192, and then we'll cover remaining of the topics. Fine. So we will resume back at 9 2. Fine. Thank you. Uh, thank you very much. Welcome back again. Uh, we were ahead here observing the pestle environment of the companies. Okay. Up till now, the main concern, whenever we are studying something, we have to, connect those things like how things happen over here. So I hope I was being in a position to make things clear to you. Okay. And with the next, we are going ahead with something called this internationalization of the business environment. Okay, this internationalization is a strategy of the companies. Okay, you have to step into the global arena, global scenario, and then have to move from a company from a country to another country. Say like if you know about Ritesh Agarwal is a big name. He is the founder of Oyo. Recently, he has started Oyo rooms, offering Oyo rooms in company like Malaysia as well. Okay. So having a successful launch in a country like India, he has moved to Malaysia. Definitely, he's going to these countries because of, or Thailand can say. Okay. So he's moving to other country for something called growth and expansion. Okay. Seeking a new market. Okay. And then there is something called technological arbitrage that is with recent technological initiative. It will provide a conductive environment to go across the world. Okay. Then there is something called resources and efficiency. Okay. So whatsoever the manpower, whatsoever the resources we are having, we are optimizing it and going to leverage means stretching our resources in a way that we can meet the international markets as well. Okay. So as we know that in case of Dell and Apple, they optimize their supply chain. Okay. So they are basically into these things. Okay. With the international market. Fine. Uh, so globalization is something a company is moving from its home country to some foreign country for having more number of customers for to tap the potentials of growth and expansion. And this technology is helping the company to move over there. Okay. So while we talk about the globalization, we have something like four type of globalization strategies. Okay. So this thing has to be to made crystal clear in your mind. So please feel free to ask me the question where you feel like something is not getting clear. So we categorize these strategies on the basis of two factors. First is local responsiveness. Okay, how much the local will respond, and second is the cost reduction concern. I mean, how much of the cost will be reduced. Okay. So if we talk about the first company or first strategy here is the international strategy. International strategy is something a company is looking to sell its product in some other countries, but is least bothered about the local responsiveness. I mean, they don't want many of the people to buy their product and cost reduction. Okay. Say like the company like Harley Davidson and this Elon Musk company was coming to India, but somehow couldn't start its plant over here. So until now, any of the Harley Davidson bike that has to be to purchased by some Indians over here in country, it is coming to India either through import or licenses of the existing product. So company is not having as such the bike manufacturing plant of Harley Davidson here in India. Same is the case with Tesla. Okay. So these companies are least bothered about the cost reduction. I mean, the bike or this electric car will cost even millions. Okay. And local responsiveness, very few people who are hardcore fan of these companies will buy the product. Otherwise, we feel like, okay, fine, it's not something for me. So in international strategy, a company adopt this strategy, just to have its base or its customer in other countries. But this strategy is having a very high brand value. Okay. And the products are comparatively at a very high price. So the company is giving a least consideration to reduce the price or reduce the cost of its product, or and is not targeting much of the customers in some other country. Okay. So they don't need much customer base. As you see, the cars like BMW, Audi, they are being sold in very few numbers over the years. Okay. So it's basically international strategy at here. Okay, fine. Uh, then second type of strategy is global strategy. Uh, okay. Global strategy is all about like how a company is, uh, like selling its product in another countries. Okay. And having a consideration of say like increased cost reduction. Okay. So like they do it with the help of standardization, economy of scale, and cross-cultural learning. Okay. Hello. Uh, Hello, sir. Hello. Sir, am I audible? Actually, I thought connection was lost somewhere. Is it back fine? Is it अभी ठीक चल ठीक चल रहा है सर? अच्छा अच्छा, अभी ठीक है सर, प्रेजेंटेशन दिख रही है मेरी? ओके फाइन, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू। आई एम रिज्यूमिंग सर। सो thank you. Sorry for the interruption. Actually, I'm resuming with the globalization strategy at here. If we talk about the globalization strategy, okay, why do companies need to globalize themselves? So the first and foremost reason to globalize is, obviously a company is looking for growth and expansion. Okay, so growth and expansion is like they are looking for a new customer base. Say like recently, Oyo has entered market of Malaysia, Thailand, just to have the customers over there. And the technological arbitrage means that the technology is supporting the companies to have their business in some other countries as well. Okay. So here's the example of company like Infosys and TCS having business based in US. And the resource efficiency means like the resources available with the companies are enabling them to to do their business in some other countries as well. Okay. So while we talk about globalization, okay, there are basically the four strategies in this globalization context. Okay. And these strategies are categorized on the basis of two parameters. One is local responsiveness and one is cost reduction parameters. Okay. So local responsiveness at here, this is moving from low to high, and same here from low to high on y-axis. Okay. So local responsiveness, if we say about if a company is least concerned about the cost reduction and local responsiveness, it is adopting a strategy called international strategy. International strategy is something where a company is either just exporting its product to some other countries without setting up a production plant in that country. So if we talk about companies like Harley Davidson or say like the Tesla Motors, so these companies are exporting their products, say like bikes and cars, okay, in case of Tesla Motors to India, and then not setting up any production plant over here. So comparatively, the price of this product is very high, okay, and the customer base for this company is very less. So this is something called international strategy. You're marking your presence in some other country, but just exporting through license, okay, not setting a production plant over there. So first one is this is international strategy. Any question to anybody from here? Please. International means you're just, marking your presence in some other countries, okay, through export only or through licensed sellers only. Then comes the global strategy. Global strategy means a company, moving to other countries, fine, but somehow, somewhere it is concerned about the price, okay. Price means uh, uh, the company is concerned about how they can decrease the price of its product so that its product become acceptable in those countries. So at here we are having something called as a global strategies. This is being adopted by companies like Toyota of Japan and Hyundai of South Korea. They standardize their products. Okay, they increase the production of their products through economy of scale and through cross-cultural learning. Okay, they make the acceptability of the product somewhat more than the companies which has adopted the international market. So at here somehow somewhere the company is able to have the larger number of customer base on the basis of higher focus upon the cost reduction strategies. Okay. And on the third place we are at here is having the transnational strategies. Okay. So while we talk about the companies, we come to know about the companies, we being asked and transnational company. Okay. So the basic difference is there only in the term of decentralization. Okay. Decentralization means in case of MNCs, say like this is Coke. If you would have gone through the documentary of Coke, you will come to know that the secret formula of Coke is just known to 2 to 3 people, and then that powder the Coke make, okay, is shipped throughout the nations, throughout the world, okay, while being manufactured in its home country only, okay. And this is MNC where there is centralized decision making, okay, and you're doing all the business in lot many other countries, but your management will be based at one country only, like who make the critical and crucial decision for you. But in case of TNC, what we do, we decentralize the things basically. We change ourselves as per the nation, and there is a person called country head. Okay, so this country head is responsible for the business of that particular country, of this company. So, like here's the example is Nestle. So, what do Nestle do? Nestle, decentralize the decision making. So if there is somebody called country head of Nestle in India, okay, so he or she will decide that what is to be to done for this country, what type of product is to be solved, what is the USP of the product. Okay, they need not to ask their bosses in Finland, which is the home country of Nestle, to make a certain or specific decisions. So the company has totally decentralized. Okay, they are least bothered about like how things are happening, okay, what decision are taking. They're just concerned about like what is the profit turnover of the company and revenue of the company over the years. So in TNC, what we do, we decentralize. Okay, we decentralize, and the country head is solely responsible for every type of decisions being made over there. Okay, you would have seen there is some time the company like Sony, they mentioned Sony India. Okay, company like LG, they mentioned LG India. So this is, LG India or Sony India means like we have these products are for Indian countries, okay, and this is TNC company. Whosoever is the CEO of India will be responsible for the revenue and for the profit of the company, okay. Uh, Yes. So that is TNC. Then there is this is transnational strategy. Then there is last come there multi-domestic strategy. Multi-domestic means you are like your maximum focus is upon the this local responsiveness. Okay, local responsiveness means we want more and more people to use the product. So if you happen to see the outlet of Domino's in your neighborhood, Domino's uses standardized recipe. Whatsoever is happening, like the way the pizza is being prepared, the burger is prepared, yes, KFC again. So what you have done, you have maximum consideration of the sentiments of local people, and obviously you are working upon cost reduction as well. Okay, so somehow some here you feel like it is our country product. So this KFC, this Domino's have highly standardized products. Okay, they give a lot many focus upon the process so that the product become acceptable to the local public. Okay, so they enter into expansion mode through franchisee, through joint ventures, through subsidiaries. Okay, and this is how they make a big presence in the country by having outlets in many parts of the cities. Okay, in a single city you will find three, four, five, six outlets of KFC or Domino's. So the major focus of these companies is basically to have the highest local responsiveness. Okay. So if I'm summing up these four strategies, in international strategies, I'm least bothered about the local responsiveness. Okay. I just want few of my customers, say like it is happening with a company like Harley Davidson, Audi, BMW sort of companies. Okay. Very few limited number of customers are there for these companies. Contrary to this strategy, something called is a multi-domestic strategies. Yes, Rolls-Royce also there. Multi-domestic, I'm like my maximum concern is the local responsiveness over here. I want many people to buy my product. I want my presence everywhere. Okay, so as we talk about the outlet of KFC and Domino's, you will find these outlets everywhere in a city. Okay, like two, three outlets used to be there. So they want higher number of local people to make use of their product. Okay. Then moving ahead with the cost reduction strategies, this is global strategies. Global strategies all about like I'm reducing the price of my company or my company products in a way that the particular customer of that particular country also buying my product. So if we happen to see these two companies product in here in India, like Toyota and Hyundai, okay, so they are working upon global strategies. And in transnational, I'm decentralizing. Again, I'm telling you, decentralizing the things. Okay, and the country head of that particular country will be responsible for in yeah, definite for all the decisions. The question of like multi-domestic cost reduction concern is basically less. So whenever you happen to go to the showroom of say like of outlet of Domino's, the price of pizza is always basically higher than most of the time higher than the price of local pizza shop. Okay, yes, it's higher. So the concern of cost reduction is lesser. So I hope the session was quite useful for you people, and you were in a position to get the things. I would like to have your queries or questions by the end of this session. So any question, any query, please do let me know. The session is open for your calls as well, please. Wherever you feel like I need to clear the things again for you people, do let me know, please. Yes, Josh, any question? Visual menu, any question from your side, please? Uh, okay, so yes, in global strategy and transnational strategy is local responsiveness. Obviously, in transnational strategy, I want more of the people visual to adopt my product. So in TNC, the concern for cost reduction and local responsiveness will be highest. Okay, fine. But in global strategy, local responsiveness will not be of that much weightage. Okay. So if you just move with the axis, you will see here the in TNC, the concern for local responsiveness is highest and as well as for cost reduction is highest. Okay. Fine. Any other question, please? This will be a great privilege or pleasure for me. Uh, yes, definitely.
Morning. Good morning, Sanjay ji. Good
Good
morning,
morning.
students.
Good.
Students, your faculty is asking many a times that please participate. Give your queries to him. Please participate. These sessions are meant for you people. So my advice to all the students, please take participate, ask your queries, whatever the doubts you are having till the session is there, please ask. And if you have not read it till now, please read all the concepts, whatever have been discussed today, and read all those concepts and come up with your doubts in the next session. That is tomorrow, right? And the chapter 2, that is about strategic analysis, external environment, it's really a very interesting chapter. I can give you a very, you can say, example of this how external environment affects. How external environment affects. You can take an example of recent example of war, Iran-Israel war. Although this war is not going on over here in our country, but still we all are impacted in direct or indirect ways. Isn't so or not? So you have to think, you have to study the concepts of strategic management in that way only. Then only you can understand the concepts. First understand the concept and then apply those concepts in your day-to-day scenario. You will never forget those concepts. This much I can assure you.
Thank you, ma'am.
And any other doubt, any kind of doubt, if students are facing during these sessions, as well as when you are reading, you are most welcome to come up with your doubts in the sessions. Your faculty will also enjoy the class, and you people will also enjoy the class, because these classes are especially for you people, not for us. So please participate as much as it is possible for you, and come up with your doubts, your queries, what kind of whatever your doubts are, come up with those doubts. But the doubts occurs only when you had studied earlier. So, sir, please tell Sanjay ji, please tell the
Yeah,
students that
you're asking for
we are covering in
transmission.
the next class.
Yes, definitely. Tomorrow
So
we'll
that
be having the
to
class.
prepare themselves for the next class.
And this will be great, ma'am, to answer their queries. So if they are come prepared, so definitely I'll be there to answer the queries.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the
Okay.
session, and thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
being
Thank
here.
you.
And
Sir, please, here only you just tell the students that whatever the topics you are going to take in the next class.
yes, ma'am, I'll be taking this topic, ma'am, on tomorrow. Just a minute, ma'am.
Tell the students that please prepare for these topics.
Yes, as we start the class in beginning, so I will expect you people to go with up till now we have covered if you are able to see this presentation, we have covered first two topics on today, but now strategic analysis and second was strategic and business environment. Okay. For tomorrow, we'll be taking the next two topics, but that is understanding products and industry, and second is industry environmental analysis. Okay. So I expect you guys to come prepared on tomorrow and with lot many questions so that the session can be made interactive and we can enjoy the session in a much better way. Thank you.
Students, please go through the MTPs, RTPs, previous question papers, and see that what type of questions have been asked due in from these topics. See those questions. You need to work upon. You need to do exercise, right? So that you will be able to find out that yes, we know. Many a times I have found that most of the students are having the same query, that ma'am, we know the concepts, but we are not able to write the answers. Why it is happening with us? It happens only when you are lacking with the practice. You
Yes,
have
Visual
to.
is having question, ma'am, at here is asking for TNC example. So Visual, the companies like say Amazon is also in TNC. Okay. Yes, ma'am, please, from your end, ma'am.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm just saying, students, that please make practice how to articulate the answers, how to write the answers. It is very much essential. If anybody have any doubt, please ask your doubts, or otherwise we will wind up the session. Any doubt? No. Otherwise, your faculty will ask you the questions tomorrow. If you
Definitely,
will not
definitely.
ask any question, we will start asking questions to you. That is the only way we can interact, right? So definitely tomorrow there will be a few of the questions we will put up in front of you. So my advice to all the students, before joining the class, please thorough with the concepts, right? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you,
ma'am.
everyone. Thank you, students. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, technical team. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.